Welcome to MA Action News with me, Tom Vince. Each month I'll be rounding up all the action from across the UK with features and reports from your association. I'll also be talking to students, instructors and master instructors to gain an insight behind the scenes of the martial arts world. As we move towards launch, I'll be interviewing some of the figureheads that have helped shape today's martial arts. My distinguished guest today has a career spanning 48 years. 8th Dan Grandmaster Mick Blackwell heads up the EKKA Karate Association and runs one of the largest full-time schools in the UK today. Welcome, Grandmaster Blackwell.
Hi.
Excellent. It's nice to have you here. Nice to have your insight on martial arts today. Could you start by telling us a little bit about your organisation and your school in general, please?
Well, the EKKA, which is my association, is based on Wateroo Karate, which I did when I first started karate. I did that to first Dan with the British Karate Association. Then later on I went into Taekwondo, mainly because I liked the kicks and I wanted to be a kicker. But I carried on fighting in karate tournaments, and my students and I have competed in karate tournaments ever since. I've had numerous clubs and schools. The school I have at the moment is quite large. It's about 11,000 square feet. Incorporates a gym. We have a 5,000 square foot matted area, parents area. We have a ring. So I'd say probably one of the largest schools in the country.
Excellent. Well, you mentioned earlier that you decided to mix Wateroo and Taekwondo. Was a specific reason for that?
Well, only because I started off in Wateroo, because when karate first came in this country, the south of England was really Wateroo through Tatsu Suzuki. North was more Shotokan through the KUGB, which was Master Kanazawa. So we were really just open to Wateroo. Now, as time went on, you wouldn't say Wateroo is a kicking style. Well, there are some good kickers in it now. At that time, it certainly wasn't. And I was really impressed with the kicks from Taekwondo. So I went and learned Taekwondo, but I just like the fighting style that karate does. So I mixed the two, and it's worked reasonably well for us over the years.
Yeah, it seems to have worked nicely. I mean, you've got the classic style of Wateroo with the very square stances, very solidness. And then you've got Taekwondo with the more bouncy style and the more fighting orientated aspect of things.
Well, when we did Taekwondo, which was a long while ago, you've got to remember there was different styles of Taekwondo. It isn't now, but there was Chantakwan, Jidakwan, Odakwan, Mudakwan, and so they were all slightly different. They were brought all under one heading by the Korean government eventually. But at that time, there's all different styles, but they all had one thing in common, which was the great jumping kicks. And that when you're young and you're fit, that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to hit people in the head with jump turn heel kick as opposed to reverse punch.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
You also mentioned earlier that you have a family area for your academy. Would you say that's important nowadays?
Well, it's all about families now. I think originally karate especially was, when it first came to this country, was quite rough. No children did it, very few women did it, and the style of fighting was really rough. We had no pads of any sort. In fact, things like groin guards, gum shields, shin guards, hand pads were banned. So we were checked to see we had no padding. It's the other way around now, but in those days, so there was a really rough style of fighting, and a lot of the people had their front teeth missing or broken noses, and we all got injured hands. So it was a really rough style of fighting. So hence, with a lot of people interested, a lot of people couldn't do it. It was just too rough for them. Later on, that changed, and it's come more and more family-oriented now. Kids are a big part, and we take them from 3 years old. And this morning at my Little Dragons class, there was about 20 in that class, and we have 3 double classes of Little Dragons during the week. So they're coming from 3 years old, and we also like to have people who are much older, 50s, 60s, and we have people training in their 70s. Now you could never do that with the old style of karate. No, now, with the correct padding and the correct tuition, and we know a lot more about how to teach the technique safely now. So things have moved on a lot, and for the better.
Oh, blind. Well, it sounds like teaching 23-year-olds would take 48 years' worth of experience.
Well, funnily enough, I don't teach them because it takes a certain type of person to teach really young children. I mean, you need to be softer spoken. You need to have empathy with the kids, and of course with the parents sometimes. And so, you know, a rough talking older guy might not be the right sort of person. Some guys can do it. It isn't what I would choose, but you have to pick the right people to teach the right classes. That's how you get the best students.
Bring that into perspective a bit more. Would you say that having a great martial arts instructor as a role model really helps to bring kids through and give them the right motives for continuing during martial arts?
I think you have to have the right person at the top, because everybody from the senior instructors in your academy or your school all the way down to the assistant instructors must be looking to somebody who's going to set the right standards, and also you need to be able to tell them this is how you do it, this is why we're doing it. You need to explain why, and then the assistant instructor is doing the correct things right from the start.
Excellent. So that's sort of grassroots martial arts at its best, but what's your opinion on UFC coming through at the minute? I mean, that's a much rougher style, isn't it?
Well, it is at the moment, but karate was like it, kickboxing was like it, and the mixed martial arts is like it now. So most people who are in it are young, and they're strong, and a lot of them want to fight. And I think it's great, but there will become a time before long before schools will be run for ordinary people, children, women, older people, to teach them the skills without it having to be too rough. And I'm sure there's people out there already doing that now, and it's going to become the mainstream. There'll still be the great fighters, but you'll get the housewife, you'll get the father, and you get the children all doing mixed martial arts in the future, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds like a great thing to happen. MMA to come in and broaden aspects of martial arts across the.
It's already happening in America now. Steve LaValle, who's one of the great school owners in America, he bases the whole curriculum on MMA now, and he's got kids. And all the people I talked about, they are doing it in his schools, and he has something like 20 odd schools in the Florida area and in New York.
Wow. Do you think MMA can be used as a fundamental for kids as well then? Is it not a bit rough?
No. Not if it's taught correctly. This is the thing. If it's taught properly, there's great skills there. When I first did judo when I was 16, we thought that jiu-jitsu was a poorer relation. And we looked down on it because that's what we were told by our judo instructors. Now I realise missed a great opportunity because some of these jiu-jitsu guys are fantastic, but so are some of the kickboxers, some of the judo guys, some of the boxers. There's great people in all these arts.
Yeah, everything you're saying is true. I mean, I guess when you have the real outstanding stars from each sport, it makes sense to bring them together into one fighting style. Well,
yeah, we've got a lot of BBJ out there. So there's a lot of them, but there's boxers in there. There's karate guys, Machida, he's a Shotokan guy. I mean, a brilliant fighter. There's there's wrestlers. I mean, some of the wrestlers, I never thought anything of wrestling till I saw MMA. And now I'm in awe of some of these guys. I just wish I'd done it when I was young.
Yeah, well, don't we all, I suppose. But you obviously have a wide range of styles that you've practiced and seen around. What would you say is the hardest style you've practiced before?
Well, I think the hardest thing was when I first went into karate because it was just taught in such a rough manner. I mean, we fought without pads, without much control. I mean, groin kicks scored and we weren't allowed to wear groin guards. So, I mean, that was one of the most painful things. And we had to make contact with our fists to the face. So even in light sparring, every time you got hit, it hurt. And, it put so many people off. And I think that was just the roughest thing I've ever done. Karate right at the beginning.
Excellent. Well, I think all our viewers would like to know, how long did it take you to get your first black belt?
Well, it took me 4 years, and which I think is quite a long while, but it's completely different now. I mean, karate, martial arts generally is geographical now. People go up their roads and find a hall with karate, and not the best way to choose it because you can just walk into a bad club. But that's what happens a lot of the time. When I did it, we had to travel. The nearest club to me was 20 odd miles away. I had to hitch back, and I did it in the snow, and getting there sweating, putting a jacket on and hitching back, and that's what we had to do. Now, it's completely different now. And quite right too. I think it's brilliant that you can go up the road and get it. I just think people, especially parents, should go out and look for the best school in the area and not just the nearest.
I think you're definitely right in that respect, definitely right. So, Master Blackwell, if we can move on to a few lighter-hearted questions.
Yeah.
What is your favourite martial arts film, the one you think possibly portrays the lighter side of martial arts?
Well, I'm at the lighter side of martial arts. So the one that had the biggest impact on me, of course, was Enter the Dragon. That was when I was teaching my karate club and I had 15 people maximum ever in my club. Enter the Dragon came, and all of a sudden people were queuing up to get in. And a lot of people made a lot of money, set themselves up for life with this. I didn't do that. I left a Tupperware box by the door and people threw their 50p's in as they came in. So I missed the opportunity. But it just made so much difference. It opened it up. You know, although it was kung fu, people went to karate clubs. And that was the most important, I think it's the most important film that ever came out for martial artists anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've experienced several similar things with films like The Karate Kid that have come out recently, and strangely, Kung Fu Panda. I'm not sure why you guys want to be like Kung Fu Panda, but apparently you do.
Well, there's that, and there's been a lot of little things. I mean, there was a time when when I was young, if somebody fought, they used their fists. Everybody kicks now. Jumping kicks, wheeling kicks, and I think it's brilliant because everybody sees the skill involved. They don't think that karate, for instance, is breaking a brick anymore, or punching a board. They see it as this athletic ability, jumping, wheeling, spinning, and all these things. And I think that's brilliant because it is martial arts are the most brilliant sports out there, I think.
Yeah. As a demonstration art, what do you think of all the freestyle forms that have started to come through involving gymnastics and dance as well?
I think it's good. I fought in the US Open a few times and we saw some brilliant martial artists doing musical forms out there. John Chung and people like this, absolutely fantastic. I've never seen anything like it. But also at the other end of the scale, there's the WKF style of kata, which is really regimented and has a lot of rules encompassed in it. I think that as a discipline is fantastic too.
Excellent, fantastic. Well, last of all, Master Blackwell, can we get your opinion on our venture, MAaction.com, trying to broadcast a wide range of martial arts to everybody?
No, I think it's really good. I mean, because obviously martial arts has been my life and probably will be until they bury me outside my dojo. But the thing is that I think something like this is great. We've got to get the martial arts out there because people like you and myself and the other martial arts artists out there, we all think this is the greatest thing. And if we can get it out to more people, I think that's fantastic.
Excellent. Well, there you have it, folks. We're just a big bunch of egotists. Excellent. Well, I've been Tom Vince. Thank you very much. This is MAaction.com, and we look forward to bringing you a monthly news update. Thank you very much, Master Blackwell.
Thank you.